Galatians chapter 5, verse 2. Look, I, Paul, say to you that if you accept circumcision, Christ will be of no advantage to you. Comments. This verse sounds strikingly similar to what Shaul already stated in Galatians 2:21, which reads, quote, I do not nullify the grace of God, for if righteousness were through the law, then Christ died for no purpose, end quote. That's out of the ESV. In 2:21, the contest in the mind of the Galatians used the verbiage of Christ versus the law. But here in 5:2, the contest uses the verbiage of Christ versus circumcision. So you see that? So by this point in our study, I say, it should be amply clear that Paul did not mean Torah observance when he used the word law in 2:21. By the same token, using the same hermeneutic principle, it should be amply clear that he does not simply mean the physical cutting away of the flesh of the male sex organ when he uses the word circumcision in 5:2. In fact, I think in both passages that Paul states that if the Galatians wish to continue down the road constructed by the influencers, the road described by the first century Judaisms as, quote, the law, end quote, quote, under the law, end quote, quote, works of the law, end quote, and, quote, circumcision, end quote. All of those phrases are kind of synonymous in the first century. This is the gospel of the influencers. If the Galatians go down that road and reject the free offer of genuine and lasting covenant membership into Israel as offered by God and outlined in the Tanakh, then, and this is using the language of our verse here in 5:2, the work done by Yeshua on the cross will indeed have no value for them at all. Or, if I borrow the language of Galatians 2:21 like I mentioned earlier, then Yeshua's death will have been pointless. Understand what I mean there? So, Paul is trying to get them to understand that their object of faith as Galatians, as Gentiles, the object of faith needs to be centered on Yeshua and not on their change of status in order to get into Israel.